Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today I want to give you a long-term review of the Move Shoot Move NOMAD Star Tracker, as you can see it here in my hands. And yeah, as I mentioned, it's a small, lightweight and very portable star tracker, and it is my go-to star tracker for the past 1.5 years, or maybe even longer. No, I think it's been 1.5 years. And I have to give you the small disclaimer in the beginning of the video. Move Shoot Move sent me this star tracker for review and just for me using it. And I've mentioned it a lot in the past in some of my astro vlogs, as you probably have seen. I absolutely love this thing. And after 1.5 years now, maybe even longer, I want to give you a long-term review. And yeah, when we just compare it here to my old star tracker, just for the size, it is very different, smaller, of course, and more lightweight. I mean, yeah, this is the big, fully equipped Star Adventurer from Skywatcher with the counterweight and the L bracket. But when we just compare the raw specs of the mount, it's quite impressive what they were able to put into this thing, because it is just 440 grams heavy, which is quite light, and also, I mean, not a bad thing. It's light, but it's made fully out of aluminum, and it's just metal everywhere, so it's built very, very high quality. And it also has a Arca Swiss plate here attached to the bottom, which is in the mount weight included. I actually just weighed it before I made this video again. And yeah, it is rated with a payload capacity of 3.5 kilograms, and I can validate that honestly in a lot of ways, but I will get to that later. This mount here, the Star Adventurer, has a payload capacity of 5 kilograms, and this is excluded with the counterweights. So 5 kilograms of just camera and telescope or lens equipment, and I would say it's the same here. So the next point on my list is the tracking performance, and I think it's the most important thing about a star tracker, and also the main reason why you clicked on this video. And I have to say, it is excellent. I really have to say that. I've used this tracker here up to 85 millimeters with the image that you can see right here. It's an image that I did on Comet C2025 A6 Lemon. I think that was the name. And I shot that with 85 millimeters. I only did 30-second exposures, but the main reason for that is that I really had no intention to capture a lot of satellites in my images, which was a big problem at that time, and also in the direction where I was shooting. I'm pretty sure that I could have gotten 1 minute or even 1.5 minutes of exposure with the mount, and that's to say that I had no very accurate polar alignment. The cool thing about this mount here, and that's also the next thing that I want to show you while I'm talking about the performance, is that in the right package, when you buy it with the laser, you can just attach it here on the back of the tracker and use the laser itself, you can see the point here, as your guidance for the polar alignment, which is so smart and so nice to use. I really have to say that. And I'm coming from going down here and looking through the polar scope for the past 6 years, maybe. I mean, I've been using this mount since the beginning. This is the original Star Adventurer, and I like it. And I also can get very fast polar alignment with a polar scope these days. And it's, of course, a lot more accurate. But the laser is just so handy, and you can get a more than good enough polar alignment with the laser to get, I really want to say, like 5 minutes of exposure time with a 14mm lens like here. Easily, no problem, really. I personally wouldn't do 5 minutes of exposure time, and also in some cases it's not really possible because you want to get the most amount of light in one image, and in some places you can't even do 5-minute exposure times. I mean, I'm using usually 1 to 3 minute exposures at f1.4 to f2.8 and also on different ISO settings. So with these settings, it is perfect. And even with longer focal lengths, I've seen some good results with that. This might take some more practice, and also the polar scope that you can get for this mount. But overall, the tracking performance is very, very good, and more or less the same like this. And just from the weight again, this here weighs 440 grams, and the mount here weighs, I think, over 1 kilogram. And then you have to either bring the counterweight and the air bracket with you, or you can just use the smaller green plate here on the ball head on that. And yeah, it makes life just easier to have this in your backpack. Let me just unscrew this again. And now we can come to some of the physical characteristics of the mount here, or tracker. I keep coming back to mount because I'm working with bigger telescope mounts, and a big telescope mount is more or less the same as a small star tracker, so don't get confused. On the side here, you have your on and off button, more or less. It's just a switch that you can set to north or south, depending on your position on Earth. And this worked for me perfectly. I've used this mount in Namibia and also in, just Germany here and in Switzerland, in the Swiss Alps. Below that you have your USB-C port for charging the mount. That's also one thing that is very nice. It has a built-in battery, which is good and bad at the same time, because if you forget a cable and don't have like AA batteries in here, you can't replace them and just keep going. You have to have it either charged, or you have a power bank with a USB-C cable on hand to charge it. But the battery life never was an issue with me personally. I've used this in Namibia, where we had sometimes little to no power at all, and I never ran into issues. I never even saw the LED here blinking. I'm not 100% sure, but I think when it's charging, it's indicating a red light for charging, and when the battery is low, I think it indicates like a blinking light for a state that the battery is low, or the capacity is low. But yeah, that never was an issue with me personally. And yeah, on the back here, you have the hole for screwing in the laser, or I think you can even do it polar scope on here, but I'm not 100% sure on that because I don't own that personally. And speaking of accessories, I've also been using it in addition with the original wedge, where you can do easy polar alignment with, and also the size comparison here, where I just compare it with the original one from Star Adventurer. It is smaller, more lightweight, compact, and still works and holds the same capacity that I put on here. Of course, if you want the best stable thing on the world with the limit of the payload capacity, you have to get something bigger. But for stuff like this here, one camera, one lens, and all that stuff, it works perfectly fine. And yeah, you can just attach that here with the built-in Arca Swiss plate. Very nice, very handy. Speaking of more accessories, one thing you have to get for yourself is either a ball head that you can attach on the adapter plate here, or something more, I would say, practical, which is either a Z or V plate from Move Shoot Move directly. They have that in their store, where you have a tilting plate where you can just create a level base again for a camera, because of course when you have the tracker angled at a specific angle for polar alignment, the ball head is pointing in a very weird spot, and sometimes it blocks the movement, and then you can get the desired field of view or angle with your camera and lens, and therefore you want to have a level base for your real tripod head, be it a panorama head that I use mostly, or even a simple ball head. I personally used the Z and V plates before, but they are, for my equipment, a little bit too weak, I have to say that, because sometimes, when I have this camera and lens combination here, my Nikon Z7 with the 40mm f1.4 from Sigma, this alone here weighs 1.8 kilograms, I think. This is just too heavy for a Z plate or a V plate. A V plate is a little bit more sturdy. I'm using a two-way head here from Andorra. This is the VH10. You can find all the links to these things that I'm using here in the equipment page on my website. And yeah, this is much more stable, and I simply attach this here on the plate on the bottom, and then on the tracker. And this is the wrong way to do it. That's the next thing I want to talk about, which is the design of the plate here, which is cool and very reliable, I would say, in terms of stability, but sometimes not 100% or not very practical, and I will come to that now. When you want to attach a ball head onto your tracker, you have to, of course, unscrew everything here, and then you have to install it in a way that the red ring is on the plate here, and then you have to attach it on your ball head. Otherwise, you won't get this red ring on top of the plate again, which is the main like locking mechanism on the tracker here. And I just attach this here. Okay, then you can use the, I would say almost like gearing teeth here to lock this plate into position. Yeah, this is a good and bad thing at the same time. It secures your ball head or your ZRV plate very secure and very tight, especially when you use the small Allen key that comes with the small case here to really tighten your ball head on the plate here. And yet you have no way of rotating the ball head here unless you lift everything up and just change the position, because yeah, this is just locked in place when you have the teeth of the gears here locked in. And I think when I say teeth of the gears, that's wrong, but I think you know what I mean. Yeah, you have to lift it up in order to reposition it again. And here with the star venter, I just unlock the clutch and then you just move it, which is of course a lot better. But yeah, with the smaller design, they had to come up with something different, I have to say, or want to say. And then you just screw on the red ring here. And then it's secure. And this is, as I said, good and bad at the same time. It is very secure, nothing is moving. The only thing that's bad is when you're doing a panorama over multiple minutes or even 1 or 2 hours, if you're really going big with your images, then of course the entire base will turn. And if you're doing a foreground, for example, afterwards on the same base here, you have to unscrew the red ring here and lift everything up to reposition it to get a level base again. And sometimes, depending on how you turned off the tracker and depending on like how the teeth array here is positioned on the ring, you can't get a perfect alignment with, yeah, just going up and down. I think you know what I mean. And then it's just tilted a little bit to the side, which was never a problem for me, but I just want to mention that because that's like the only like bad thing that I could find when using this mount. I think that's more or less it when it comes to the physical things. I've told you everything about the performance. I told you everything about the overall specs, and that's the nice thing. There is not much more to say. It's very simple, very easy to use. And yeah, then one more thing I want to show you is the sound, because that's something I really like about this mount. It has a very fine like whining noise of the motor inside, which you can hear like in this scenario here when I have like the fan of the video lamp up here and when I'm talking. It's not very loud and you can't really hear it, but when you're outside in the field and you have nothing around you and when it's like dead silence, you can hear it. And that's something I like, because I like to hear my star tracker being at work. And it's like like when I come to my tripod and I don't hear the mount, the battery's dead or something is wrong. That's something I like. And now let's hear how it sounds. I really hope you can hear it when I'm really going close to the microphone. That's kind of cool, honestly. And it sounds the same when I'm turning it to south or north. So yeah, that's some nerdy detail for you. Yeah, when we just come to the end of the video, I want to talk about pricing, which is also one of the very interesting things about this mount, because I've opened up the website now and you can get this mount here in different like kits, I would call it. So you can either get the basic kit, which is just the tracker and the laser pointer itself. Then you can get it with a polar scope. Then you can get it with the polar scope and the laser. Then you can get it with the wedge. And yeah, you can just have a look for yourself on the website. You can find the link in the description below, and just look around which kit suits you best. And yeah, so the one kit that I'm seeing right here, which is like selected for me, is the starter kit, which is the Nomad, a ball head, and a laser pointer, which is also calibrated. This is also really cool, because sometimes when you get a laser pointer, the light beam can be like out of alignment, and then you just have a light beam that's going off to the side when you're just looking at infinity, and then it's not aligned with the axis, and then you get like, of course, worse polar alignment than you should have gotten with the laser that is aligned. Yeah, this basic starter kit is $259 US, which is a really fair price. I really have to say that. That's really cool. And like for us Europeans, it's like 230 euros, I think, with shipping. I'm not 100% sure. Worldwide free shipping above $99. So yeah, so it's free shipping as well, which is really nice. And for what you get, it's a fair value. Like when I compare it again with the Star Adventurer here, this Pro kit here with the counterweight and everything did cost, I think, 550 or 600 euros back then when I bought it new. I'm not sure about the price right now, but I think it's around there. Of course, you can get it used much cheaper, but yeah, this is new, and yeah, so it's a fair comparison if I just use the new prices. Of course, when I add the wedge, it's a little bit more expensive. Then it costs $389, but then you get the laser, the wedge, a headlamp, a polar scope, the laser pointer, and the Nomad head, and then you have the best out of everything. If you've watched this review now and you're considering getting one for yourself, then you can use the link in the video description below. It's an affiliate link, so if you buy it over this link or with my code Jakob, very simple, you can see it on the screen now, then you will get 5% off for your entire order, which is a fair deal, I would say. If I haven't showed you some images now, then I will show you some images now that I got with this tracker, or while I was using this tracker. Then I wish you good luck on your next adventure, and thanks for watching.